The fact that you guys just keep unlocking like nostalgic memories in my mind based on every sentence is like, it's making me really
It
happy.
is now a good time to say that I've watched none of these films, not a single one has been mentioned. I've
Well,
still
you've
just add
watched
them to
one.
the
You've
ever.
watched
Get
all of
busy.
them.
A
I'm
lot of
sitting
them
here
are
silently
older.
like, yes, that film. I haven't seen a single one.
Oh. Welcome back to Amy and it is our first After Dark episode for 2026. I only just
Yeah.
realized that. Wow. Wow.
Amy and Knights.
Amy and at night. We do exist. We're all a little bit hysterical and tired, but we do exist. I'm Amy Matthews and I'm here today with Harry Stewart.
Hi.
Justina Ashman,
Hello.
Peyton Hogan and friend,
Hi.
Abby Guy,
Hi.
and Millie Heffernan.
That's me.
And I just want to acknowledge that we're meeting today on Ghana land, or tonight on Ghana land. It is very beautiful, but very dark and a bit cold where I am, here in Ghana Yata. And I just want to acknowledge the storytelling traditions of this place and to pay my respects to elders past and present and to extend those respects to any First Nations people listening to us today. And welcome to our first After Dark, which is unusually for us an episode that's going to span 2 months. Normally we just stick in the month we're in, but we couldn't help ourselves but jump ahead to next month. So we've been doing YA for April, but next month, what are we doing, team?
Dragons.
So funny, like for our listeners who aren't looking at the YouTube video of this, it's so funny to ask what next month is and then look at all of our backgrounds.
So next month is Dragon Month.
Scaled birds.
And I'm just hoping, because I've got a background on that I can show it, but our book of the month is going to be Monica Blackgoose's To Shape a Dragon's Breath. So
It's lovely watching them cut in and out of frame.
Yeah. We got it. We got there in the end. So yeah, we're going to start. We thought after dark we usually watch a film and have a chat. And so we got together to watch a film called Dragonheart. Justina's holding the DVD up for those who are watching on YouTube. And so this is a film that came out in 1996 when I was at the peak of my youthful university party years. So I did not go and see it at the cinema, but Millie and Justina did, right? So
I didn't see it in cinema,
not
but
in
it
the
was
cinema,
a childhood
no.
classic.
you were probably too young for the cinema or what?
Yeah, I would have been.
Yeah, I guess I would have been 4, so
I would have been like
Wow.
3.
Feeling
Yeah.
old.
yeah.
No, they were-
I
they
do
were
remember
also
the
in the club.
posters. I do remember going like, I have this memory of being at the Regent. Do you remember the old Regent that's now Dimmicks?
Yes.
That there was like an
don't
old
remember.
cinema.
I don't remember it when it was a cinema
Oh,
though.
it was
I do-
amazing. It was that beautiful ceiling. It was like this huge old like cinema. And I do remember the poster of it, like being there and seeing the poster and just I think I probably saw the trailer too, but it was not like a film I would have gone to see at that point in my life. But it was good fun. So tell us about this film.
I've got the DVD here, so I thought I'd just read the blurb that it has on the back. Long ago, when majestic fire breathers soared through the skies, there lived a knight who would come face to face and heart to heart with the most remarkable creature that ever existed. Dennis Quaid stars with the voice of Academy Award winner Sean Connery in director Rob Cohen's heroic adventure that blazes with fantasy humor and the most amazing special effects since Jurassic Park! Exclamation mark.
So in the 3 years,
Co-starring-
3 years between Jurassic Park and this is the best they came up with.
Yeah.
This was it.
Co-starring David Thewlis, Pete Postlethwaite, Julie Christie, and Diana Meyer. This epic adventure will move and thrill the entire family. Dragonheart, summarized. That's not really, doesn't tell you anything about the plot whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
Good
guys,
old-fashioned way.
so okay, let's see if we can summarize the plot between us because it was quite fun. I'd never seen it before and I did have fun
Oh, well
following
then
this
I
lunatic
reckon
plot.
Justina and I should sit out then. And you guys should try and summarize it, having seen it once.
Oh, okay, this might be amusing. All right, Harry, Abby, had you ever seen it before? Peyton?
Yes.
You had.
No, this was
All
the
right.
fourth time.
Yeah,
Wow.
definitely.
That shocks me.
Okay.
All right, so Peyton, Abby, and I are going to have a go at this
Gosh,
plot.
and we watched it for reference. We watched it a little bit before we did.
I'll start and you guys chip in because I particularly loved the heroine's wigs. I was really obsessed with her changing wigs.
Right.
So Dennis Quaid is like a knight and he's a good guy, right? and he believes in upholding the old traditions. So we're set in like
He's a
980.
knight of the old code.
The Knight of the Old Code is really chivalrous, and it's like there's like Arthurian references, right? And like it's like Avalon and the priestesses of Avalon. There's all these references to all that stuff. So he's trying to train the prince to be a good king, and the prince
is a dick.
He's the biggest dick ever. He's such a nasty boy.
And I thought when it started, I was like, oh, so this is a movie about how he learns to become a good person. Boy, was I wrong.
He just goes from being a dick to a really big dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know he's bad because he looks ugly and slippery and mean. And you're like, Dennis Quaid, what is wrong with you? Why can't you work out this guy's a dick?
And
So what?
the prince gets injured very, very early during I guess it's a raid on a village, but they're pretty much just like pillaging.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's supposedly a peasants' revolution that they
That's
are
right.
squashing.
Oh.
That's right, because there's an entire kind of uprising of the peasants constantly, and the heroine is like leading the uprisings of the peasants.
Yes.
And the prince is like, get me in on that action.
In fact, she's the one who leads to his dad. No, she's the one who leads to him being stabbed and almost dying, the prince, during that
Good
uprising.
for her.
Yeah. And she's like, and he sees her. And then, like, they take the prince to the dragon to try and save his life because Dennis Quaid still thinks he's good. Draco. We don't know that at that point because it's all dark and you don't know who's talking. You think it's a magician or something.
A magician.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. You know this is a dragon movie, but, you know, like it's like some kind of Merlin figure or something because you're supposed to be like, oh, it was a dragon. So the dragon gives the prince some of his heart. Hence the title, very clever. And the prince lives and then becomes an even bigger dick. And Dennis Quaid, Sir Dennis Quaid the Knight is really devastated and betrayed and like, oh my God, I saved a dick. And then he exiles himself. And when he does, he meets a dragon.
He also specifically thinks that it was the dragon's heart that turned the prince evil.
That's right. He's hunting down all the dragons.
Yeah, he goes on a dragon slang. Yeah.
Because you spoiled my prince. Yeah.
Basically makes dragons extinct.
Yeah.
He was
Single-handedly.
already evil.
Yeah, so Dennis Quaid becomes a genocidal maniac for the dragons. Then he meets Draco and they become good friends. And then he's like, oh, hold on a minute. Maybe the prince is a dick.
Why this book if you guys were narrating it?
And the movie ensues.
Also,
I think we're doing pretty good. I love it as well.
They become good friends because they fight for a while and then they decide it's easier if they just run grifts together.
That's
become
right.
friends through conning people.
Yeah.
And there's a fun sequence.
Dennis Quaid becomes a genocidal maniac.
He does, And we're supposed to forgive this. We're supposed to think it's okay. He's gone and killed all the dragons. He's still
he's
heroic.
got one dragon friend now, so it actually makes up for all of it.
Yeah.
I'm also really not sure. Like, they don't convince me in the scene where he's trying to kill Draco that this man could have killed all of the other dragons. There is no where I'm like, he's successfully slaying this dragon.
It is because I guess it's a kid's film, so you don't want him to be seen as a genocidal maniac.
Yeah. He gets stuck in his mouth and they're just like, well, what do we do now?
We're just going to wait this out.
And they had to make the dragon a nose fire breather because otherwise it wouldn't make sense that he wouldn't just kill Dennis Quaid's character in the mouth when he was stuck. Although, mind you, if you just blew fire through your nose, your mouth would get so hot that you would just like boil him very slowly. But what do I know? I'm not a dragon, I guess.
Maybe the dragon didn't really want to kill him though.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he
He was
did.
lonely.
He's not. Dragon's a good dragon.
It's not particularly murderous. He does it because he's forced to be murderous.
Yeah, he was actually a wise, like, magician figure, right? He was
And they're
there
in
helping
love,
people.
aren't they?
I feel like they were in love.
Yeah.
The entire time we watched this film, the whole conversation was about how they are in love.
Yeah.
It's definitely we're shipping the dragon and Dennis Quaid is happening.
Yeah.
I feel like I remember at
It
one
became a
point-
whole polycule. didn't
Yeah, because of the girl. What was her name? Cara.
Yeah. I feel like I remember us at one point just being like, oh, meet cute. And then just like
totally
naming all the
was.
meats.
Oh, also the way Kara comes back into it is that all the peasants from the previous uprising are now like basically prison workers, and she wants everyone to uprise again, and people hate it because she's a woman.
Yeah.
And they keep telling her to stop wanting uprisings. And so then when Dennis Quaid and Sean Connery, the dragon, are on their grifting spree, they tell that village that they're trying to grift the village.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get found out.
Yeah, and they decide to, and then I think Dennis Quaid convinces them that they have to sacrifice this woman to the dragon. I think at this point he's just being an asshole because he finds the fact that she will like argue with him. Probably it's supposed to be, I think he's supposed to find it both annoying and attractive, but honestly I don't feel
They
like
had
they have
zero chemistry. No,
No.
you didn't feel like there was a romance in there at all, except between the dragon and
The
Dennis
reason
Quaid.
you're shipping him with the dragon is because they had more
Yeah.
chemistry
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
But
I
then
mean,
the
she
dragon,
she wasn't given heaps to do, but even then there was no chemistry. She basically gave political speeches, and then her wig changes every 5 minutes. It's like a
Yeah.
different wig every few minutes, which is a bit distracting. We're making it sound ridiculous, but it's actually a really fun film.
it's
Like,
really fun.
really fun.
But
Yeah.
yes, no, she befriends the dragon, and he's like, "I'm not going to kill her. she's lovely."
I've never noticed the wig changes. I
Oh,
can't
you need to
believe
go
it.
back and watch because they're just amazing. They're like completely different wigs.
Yeah, and they all look wrong.
I feel like they ran out of money. Like they did the CGI and they were like, "Oh, Dina, we can't afford a wig." I really like her though, because I liked her in Starship Troopers. Like Dina Meyer was
Yeah.
like dizzy in
I
Starship
love
Troopers. She
Starship
was my
Troopers
favorite
too.
character in that film. She
Yeah. that's a
like,
good
because
film
Denise
too.
Richards, bless, beautiful girl, cannot act. Like, whereas she was great. She was wonderful in that film. But the cast is stellar. I mean, what a cast.
It is. They would have spent a fortune on getting these people across there. Like you've got this sounds bad because I should know his name, but all I know is oh my Lord, what's his name? In
You thinking David Thewlis?
yeah, David Thewlis. Like I'm like, he's huge. Jason Isaac, Sean Connery.
I think a
I
lot
don't
of
know
them
that he
weren't
was
famous
huge
back
in
then.
They
1996.
weren't, yeah.
No, but they were big theater actors, is what I was saying beforehand. So it was like to pull them across, like it wouldn't have cost probably that much
I
money,
guess
but they were
Slovakia
big
would have
names.
been
But here's the law. So
Oh,
imagine the
yes.
movie. Imagine the whole movie, but Bowen is Liam Neeson.
Oh, see, that would have been
That's who they
Oh,
wanted for the
yeah.
film.
Uh,
But the studio said no, there's no way that Liam Neeson could be an action film man.
What?
That's so funny now. Oh my God.
Yeah. What had
So,
he done
jokes on them.
before that? Do we know?
So he would have just done Darkman.
Yeah, and he was a
Okay.
stage actor too, right?
Very
Yeah.
different.
Again, yeah, all these British actors, you know, all these
It is
theater
funny to
actors.
have Dennis Quaid, the Knight of the Old Code, be
know.
inexplicably American.
Except it wasn't Dennis
The
Quaid.
accents, yeah.
Wasn't Dennis? No, Liam Neeson. Sorry, wasn't Liam Neeson in Excalibur? Because I think he met Helen Mirren
Yes,
on Excalibur,
yes.
and they ended up a couple for a long time. So
Yeah.
I know
That's true. I was watching that the
think.
other day as well. I was watching a clip the other day about how they first met.
Yeah.
And he was like,
So I think he
yeah.
might have done a couple of little things, but not broken through.
I wonder if this is the case where it's like Excalibur is seen as prestige sort of genre because it's a bit more like mythology.
Also,
Whereas-
Dragon in that.
Yeah. I don't know. Whereas this is seen as more like lowbrow because
Yeah.
there's
Here,
like
okay, here's
comedy.
another piece of lore
Yeah.
that I've got. Perfect. So Amy knows this, I think. So basically, the film was pitched by a completely different guy.
Different
They
writer.
hired, so director, he gave the idea to the script writer who wrote the script. And then they towed it to the studio, got rid of the original director, producer,
Which is
brought
so
in Rob-
common.
brought in
So common.
Rob Cohen, who read the script and was like, "This is fantastic. Here's all the things I'm going to change."
And Rob Cohen,
Um,
by the way, we need to stress, was like, did some weird collections of films. So he did The Witches of Eastwick, but also the musical The Wiz with Michael Jackson, and also The Fast and the Furious. Like this
Whoa.
man
Yeah.
has done like
And
everything.
XX, I think, is the
Yeah.
other, like such a bizarre collection of films.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
so
Now I'm imagining a
originally
version
the
of
film
this
was
with Vin
supposed to
Diesel.
be the film was
Which
supposed to
one
be
would he
like
play? The
in
dragon?
Sherwood Forest type setting, like very European, but instead Rob Cohen changed it to, he was like, no, this needs to be dark and gritty. We're going to put it in 900 AD in those dark terrible, and also because he was like,
Oh.
it's more believable. Here's what he said: it's more believable that there was a dragon in the medieval times because we don't have records from then. So it's more believable that they were dragons.
Wow. Okay. So that makes sense to me too
I
because
hate this man. After 24 hours sitting with this Wikipedia, I
Yeah.
hate this man.
Because believability is what you want in a
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
That's what you want out of your
Yeah.
dragon
I feel
film.
like
Yeah.
Dragon.
the original,
for the youth.
Yeah.
for the youth. I feel like the original script must have got started after Robin Hood, like the Kevin Costner Robin Hood, if they're thinking Sherwood Forest. Like there was a whole spate of
Maybe,
those.
yeah, and there was definitely a trend of those films. And like, so the original script was so different. And this poor man, I can't remember what his name is. Let me look really
I looked
quickly.
up. Do you mean the writer was Charles Edward Pogue?
Charles Edward Pogue. He was so upset about all these terrible changes. He was so pissed about it. I was ranting earlier to the folks in my house about this. He went and wrote a novel. So he went and wrote Dragonheart, the novel. So it's not a novelization of the film. It's a novelization of his original script of the film and what he actually wanted the vibe to be. And I couldn't get a copy before today to read it, and I'm so upset about it. But you can read it on the Internet Archive, so I'm going to. Because I've read basically some wonderful person on Fandom Wiki basically did a huge summary list of all the differences between the film and the book. And I read through that and I was like, this is so interesting because he obviously wanted it to be way more Ladyhawke
Yeah.
than what it is
Yeah.
because like you were saying, Bowen and Kara are supposed to have a romance.
Well,
They
Willow,
are supposed to have
it's got Willow coding as
got
well,
very
right?
willowy vibes. So he had written a romance into. That's why it's parts of the film feel like it has gaps. Where
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it's weird that I feel like this scene would have moved into a romantic scene and then it doesn't. It's because they cut all these bits from the script to make it a dark, gritty film, which it's not.
It's
It's
not,
not.
So
It
not.
comes out so silly.
I really like
So
Peyton's
silly.
idea. I think if you had script doctored it, it would be great to have the romance actually between the girl and the prince, and to have the dragon's heart purified. No, not make that prince. Like I would rewrite the whole script.
Okay.
What I would do.
Right,
I'm not
okay.
talking about this prince. He's a dick. He's irredeemable. But why not have the dragon's heart help redeem him instead of corrupt him?
Yeah.
And
Because
then
then you don't have to kill the dragon at the end, I guess,
Yeah.
which is a
Which-
big thing.
I wish they hadn't, but I understand again.
Well, the
Yeah.
big thing is like his big characteristic is that he is he doesn't want to die yet because he's afraid his soul will go, so Christian of him, he's afraid his soul will go to hell.
Oh.
He's like not a good because he's worried that by
I
giving
think
his heart
Dennis
to the
is going to
prince,
hell
he's-
for killing all the dragons, actually. I think the
I
dragon
didn't say it made
true.
sense. I said that's what he says in the movie.
Yeah. But also, he's
so-
just not that great of a guy anyway.
Well,
Like, he's not great in that movie at all, regardless of killing all the dragons.
yeah.
The fact that it's
So-
Dennis Quaid is so funny to me in hindsight. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I didn't know who Dennis Quaid was as a kid, but now I'm like, oh my God. When we sat down to watch it, I was like, I forgot that this was Dennis Quaid.
He just
Oh
reminds
my
me of Tim
God.
Allen, and I don't like Tim Allen either. So I'm like, this is all I can think about
Because
when I
Dennis
look at Dennis
Quaid was like one of those 80s wild childs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
And
just
he
feel
was
like
like-
it's
It's
worth
like seeing Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, right? You're like, in
He's too
hindsight, you're
American.
like,
Yeah.
what an interesting choice.
Yes.
I do feel like it's worth mentioning that even though we watched it as kids, and I remember loving it as a kid, it's not a kids' movie and it's not intended
No.
for kids. It's rated
No,
M,
yeah.
according to the
Ah.
DVD.
Yeah.
So they were definitely trying to make it a darker, grittier, like adult action fantasy.
But it's actually reads like a kid's film.
It reads
Like,
as a YA for sure.
Yeah.
it's so
Is that-
comedic, I think, you know.
But the-
yeah.
Yeah.
The darker elements of it would not have passed for a kids' audience. So
Which
if
is
you were
so
No.
Mm.
interesting because in the book, and so therefore in the original script,
Mm.
there were darker scenes. So you know when the
Wasn't-
prince captures the girl and he takes her to the castle, and we're all like, "Oh, this is a bit coded. Like this is an allegory for something." In the original script, he raped her.
This is because I read
Wow.
the original director was Raffaella De Laurentiis, and the De Laurentiis did Conan and all those really dark kind of sword and sandal things. They were really like Conan rapes girls in Conan the
Yeah.
Barbarian and stuff. So I can kind of see that in the like inside, but you can see that kind of at war in the film, right?
Yeah, because he said he wanted, not that having rape in films is necessarily part of that, that's a different tangent, but he had said that he wanted the film to be more noble than it came out. Like I think he did want it to be not dark and gritty, but he wanted it to be more serious. More noble is the word he used. And so it's so interesting that Rob Cohen was like, no, let's make it dark and gritty, but it's come out so silly and
Yeah.
comedic instead.
Do you think though
Or
that
maybe that's just
I reckon
what
that's probably the
films from the
company,
90s are.
right? Don't you think that's probably like, I don't remember who the company is or the distributor, but there's often a committee that gets involved and is like, actually, this is a bit of a hot mess. We're going to skew it this way and we can get some money. It was a huge box
It's
office
Universal.
success. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
Yeah.
Universal Studios.
Universal
like-
was pretty mammoth in the 90s. Like they
The
did do
wiki does
Jurassic
say
Park
like
and
the studio got involved in a lot of like that's the reason
yeah.
they brought on Rob Cohen is they got involved quite a bit in a lot of the
It
decisions.
reads like that. It reads like a
Yeah.
film that the studio meddled with. But it,
But
I mean,
it's-
they worked for them. It made like 100 and something million at the box office.
But I mean,
so-
I love the fun parts of the film. I think my favorite
Yeah.
parts of it are when they're going around conning
Yeah.
people.
Oh, the griffs are so
Yeah.
funny. They were supposed to have three different cons that they were running around, the land, the little land you think they run out of villages. But the idea was that Draco was testing him. So again, with that like noble sort of through line, he was testing him to see if he was the true knight that was, he'd been waiting for a true
Oh wow,
knight.
because none of that
And so
comes out.
on the third con, Bowen refuses. So that like that last village they're at, he refuses to con them because he realizes they're just running out of food and they're just starving and angry. And then Draco's like, he's the one.
Yeah,
really would
because he's trying to
Change
con
the tone
the
of the
lords.
movie.
He's trying to con the lords who own the lands more so than the actual people themselves.
Yeah, but he starts to realize that he's just hurting the people. So
Yeah.
very different tonally it could have been, but
Yeah, and
instead
it
we
does,
have.
and it has like a mixed tone that's kind of odd.
Yeah, that's why I feel like when you watch it now as an adult, you're like, that's why some of the scenes, like the scenes in the castle, feel so serious and
Yeah.
so different to the scenes like than when they're doing the griffs, which
Yeah.
are so fun and like when they're fighting and he gets stuck in his mouth and he's got his sword in his mouth and you're like, this is silly.
And it's the same with her character. That Kara character it's like you don't know what she's for. Sometimes she's really political.
Yeah.
Sometimes the
It
prince
seems
wants
like
her.
maybe she was supposed to
Sometimes-
have more to do. Turns out
Yeah.
she did.
And it's also very frustrating as well. It feels like it's at some point she's been edited to have less of a role even in the uprising because her whole goal the whole time has been trying to get people behind her to uprise against the corrupt prince. But then in the end it's Dennis Quaid who actually mobilizes people.
Yeah.
It's so sexist as well. Like the lead man in the village who is just constantly like berating her and essentially treating her like a nuisance is like, I don't know, he's only convinced once like a man is on board.
So
Because
true.
they were going for
Well,
gritty
so-
10th century realism.
It was
In the,
also
the-
like I remember ILM in ILM's documentary, they talk about taking the things from Jurassic Park and trying to make the dinosaurs talk. And it was like a huge like attempt at leaping forward in visual effects for the movie for Dragonheart as well. And it took like way longer than they anticipated. And then at the end, after that, they were like unbelievably disappointed with the results that they'd turned out. Because they were like, oh, all this time and effort and all this stuff there. And then they were like, and one of the worst parts of the reviews were saying, oh, well, this doesn't look as good as the stuff that we've actually been seeing in the past. And they were
Well,
like,
that's because
Sad.
I mean Jurassic Park, a lot of that is puppetry.
It is puppetry. There's
Yeah.
very little
That's
CGI.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, I do think that this was very much like a visual spectacle when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's that scene where we actually see the dragon, because we don't see it in the opening when we first encounter, we just hear the voice. Because they're holding out to show us how cool their VFX are. And then it's in that like little rock pool. And like
Yeah.
dragon emerged from the water, and I'm thinking now I'm thinking, oh, they're just showing off because they're like, look, it can walk through water, and look how the
I feel like it would have been more impressive if the first time you see the dragon in full is that scene where it's flying over the top of that like field.
yeah.
That would have been a cooler reveal.
So, because this is also still YA month, this is a film obviously you guys watched a lot, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Many times.
Were there other films you all watched a lot that were like your YA film? We've talked books, but what were the YA films you were watching a lot?
It's in the background here, but How to Train Your Dragon, to be very on theme, was a big film for me. But that was like I remember watching that more as like a teen or like than I do like as a child. But I loved that. Spirit, all might all be animal ones, but
Yeah.
Spirit, the Stallion
Well, of course.
yeah,
That tracks.
that
On
one,
theme.
I watched that so much. That movie still makes me cry.
I was really into, fantasy films and action films and sci-fi films. So like I loved like The Matrix, and me and my brothers were really into like Hong Kong action films, like anything with Jackie Chan in it.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
I mean, we were watching a lot of anime as well, so we loved that intersection you got in films like The Matrix, where they're inspired by a lot of like sci-fi animes.
My brother
This
used
is
to
a lot
watch
of what
like
I watched
Akira over and over again, and Neon Genesis and those kinds of things.
Akira with the bike slide.
Yeah, the bike
This is,
slide.
Dragonheart is very on theme for what a lot of what I watched, at least as a kid. I'm not sure I could tell you what I watched as a teenager, actually, so long ago. But yeah, like Dragonheart, Ladyhawke, Willow.
I loved Willow. I
Labyrinth,
loved the romance in Willow.
Legend.
I was like a sucker for the romance in Willow. Saoirse and Mad Mardigan, the
Absolutely.
best.
Princess Bride.
Still
as
watch it.
well.
Princess Bride,
Princess
yeah,
Bride.
Starship Troopers.
I saw The Princess Bride at the movies when I was in year 6. I remember that.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
a lot of
what?
sci-fi movies too. But like my parents were, so I watched a lot of things that my parents introduced me to. So like Starship Troopers was something I watched
Love.
pretty young, I
You
feel
know,
like.
Yeah.
you know what? Same. And my parents would just send us out of the room for the sex scene, and that was it. Everything
Only
else
the
we were
sex
allowed
Oh
to
yeah, I
watch.
got my eyes
Yeah.
covered. Like, oh, don't look.
Fashion.
But
We
the
got sent out
violence
of the
is
room and
fine.
then brought back in when the scene was over.
The violence is fine. I like
Violence
Tom
is
Hanks.
fine.
Tom Hanks has a good line about this that I've always liked, which is around he would be fine with his kids watching sex, but not violence, because hopefully sex is going to happen to them in life, but not violence.
But
And
no
I was
violence. That's a
it's
good
like
point.
it's such a weird standard we have that cover your
Yeah.
eyes, there's boobs,
So
but
true.
you can see this person cut this bug up.
Yeah.
It's a running joke in my family that my dad watches the television in the main lounge room near the kitchen, and anytime anyone walks past, he's either watching a battle scene, a sex scene, or a pregnancy, like birthing scene, and there's no in between.
Birthing scene.
Birthing scene is a bit rogue.
Like
Ooh.
violence, sex, and death.
We have a thing because when Isaac often walks in, I'll be watching like The White Lotus or Bridgerton, and they walk in at the most graphic moments
Oh
every time.
God.
And I'm like,
That's
the
like
whole
that fear
show
of
is
being-
not like this.
The fear of being on a plane and like somebody looking over, and it just happens to be that one moment that the sex scene is on the screen. You're like, no, I just listen. It's just bad timing.
I saw a TikTok, and it was someone doing a thing that generally I don't agree with, but anyway, sort of slyly filming someone in public because they were on a plane, and there was a guy a couple rows ahead of them who was watching Heated Rivalry on his like iPad, and then just like, wow, brave of him to be watching Heated Rivalry just like on a plane. And then there's a clip of him, he like pauses when it gets to the first kind of like sex scene, and he's like clearly like has done no looking into what this film is. And then in the caption is like, oh, he would skip to all of the hockey scenes, and I was like, that's not a lot of that
Oh,
show.
No.
I do find that very funny that someone has, just on a plane. Speaking of, just
He watched 22
just like
minutes
put
over
something
6
on that they
hours.
thought was going to be a sports show, and then they were just like, whoa, just in the middle of the public plane.
Well, before we talked about sex, I was going to say I love The Dark Crystal too.
Oh,
Because I used to
too.
love
Yeah,
watching
me
that.
too.
Yeah.
And
And
those
Labyrinth.
puppets don't have sex. So it's fine. And I don't know how I was going to work that back in.
Yeah, I
Well,
loved
Dark Crystal was Jim Henson, and Labyrinth was also
Yeah.
Jim Henson,
Jim
and that
Henson,
movie
yeah.
is sexy.
Labyrinth,
So
yeah.
Loved
Yeah.
both. Yeah. David Bowie in that movie. Oh,
Yeah.
there's
There was a
something
lot
about
of
that.
great like fantasy kids films, I feel like, in
Yeah.
like the 90s and 2000s.
I feel like they don't make
Sci-fi
fantasy
too.
films like that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, I
Even
miss
like something
fantasy.
like Hook. Hook, I loved
Yeah.
Hook when I was
Yes.
Yeah.
That was so good. The original, it's not the original
original.
Peter Pan. I was going to say the original Peter Pan.
The original
It
Hook.
is not.
I loved I think it's Inkheart. Did any of you ever watch
Loved
that?
Inkheart.
I loved it so much. And then I read the
Yeah.
trilogy, and the
I loved the
trilogy is
books,
so
yeah.
good.
I
Yeah.
know. I remember watching the movie and then being like, I'm going to read the books. And then I was like, okay, so this movie's really bad. I was like, okay.
I was like, okay, I love it for what it is. It is not
Yeah.
the books.
Yeah,
I
it's
am
not anything
such
related to the series.
But
such
oh
a
my
sucker for
gosh,
books about how good books are.
the guy who plays, is his name Dustfinger?
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
also, a
Yeah,
more
yeah.
recent acting credit
Yeah.
is WandaVision. That guy. Oh my God, I had a
Oh,
huge
Paul
crush
Bettany.
on him.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh,
him.
he's also in First Night, right?
Knight's Tale.
Oh,
Knight's
Knight's Tale.
Tale. That's the one. Knight's
And
Tale.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
You knew what I meant.
Oh,
I
I
did.
saw that recently. That's so good.
And
Yes.
Master and Commander, which was
Yeah,
weirdly
yeah,
a film
yeah,
I was
yeah.
very obsessed with when it came out.
Yeah, it was a
that's
good
like
Isn't
film.
that weird?
one of
Yes,
my
I
top
was
5
too.
of all time.
Yeah.
Do you know what they all
Top
have in
5.
common is very detailed worlds, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Like they're almost like, because those ship films are almost like a fantasy because the history is so
I
different.
really can't believe I've forgotten this, especially considering the company that we keep with amongst each other. But the Lord of the Rings.
Of course, yeah. Of
Oh, I
course.
thought you were going to say I was going to say The Mummy, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
I
The
love The
Mummy.
Mummy. I was just thinking the other
Yeah.
day, I'm due for a rewatch of that.
So
I
am I.
remember going to the movies and being like, that's a romance. You've just made a great romance.
Yes.
Mm.
And it was
Yeah.
not like, I still think that's one reason so many
Do you
people.
know how late it
Yeah.
was when I found out that Daniel Craig is married to Rachel Weisz?
Yeah.
I was like, way too late. And then I was like, wait, hang on a second. She's married to James
We know
Bond.
Dennis
This will shock
Quaid
you.
used
He's
to be
also
married to Meg
English.
Ryan.
He's not actually got a southern accent,
No, you're lying. You're lying.
I loved that movie and was also absolutely terrified of it. Every time scorpions were like digging their way out of people's bodies and stuff, but I couldn't look away.
Yeah, the guy that gets eaten by the scarab beetles.
Oh, I
Ooh.
can't.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's awful.
But it's so funny
Awful.
too, like just so funny.
Oh, Night at the Museum, like not in a fantasy world, but the
Yeah.
museum
Yeah.
itself
Yeah.
is very fantastical. That was really fun. I rewatched those a couple years ago. They're kind of a good comfort movie.
I
Like
do
movies
think
with
it's
lore, like their own weird niche lore.
Yeah.
Like Ladyhawke is such a bizarre one because it's
It's
like
such a weird film.
a very specific kind of curse magic, but the curse is done by the Catholic priests, so who
Yeah.
knows? But yeah, weird, very specific lore to this one movie
and
that
there's
you
still
kind of doesn't exist anywhere else.
the
I
balance
followed
of
Michelle Pfeiffer from that movie, by the way. Ever since I first saw her, I was like, who is this? Had a crush when I was young. I was like, this woman is amazing.
Grease too.
And now I just
Her and
can't
Grease
stop.
too.
I will always watch something with Michelle Pfeiffer in it because of Ladyhawke.
Oh, she's
Mm.
amazing.
I wanted
like
her
her
hair.
80s work is so good. Like,
It's
and
so good.
but also Scarface. Like, go right back to Scarface. She's
Yeah,
incredible.
go back to the original Batman, like the Batman movies. Like,
Oh.
Did you
amazing in
guys
that
ever
too.
see?
Oh.
There's some 80s films you probably didn't see. There was one called Lionheart. Did you ever see this with Eric Stoltz? It's it's
Oh.
about the
That
Children's
sounds really
Crusade.
familiar.
Yeah, I will come back
Yeah.
to you because I couldn't find it anywhere, and it's not on any streaming service. But Eric Stoltz was in it. And it was mid 80s, and it was about the Children's Crusade. So it's about he's a young kid, and he wants to follow like his dad to the Crusades. And as he goes, he gets this whole trail of children, and they're all looking for Richard the Lionheart, and like. But it was a really cool it's a historical fantasy kind of from the 80s. And then there was the Conan. I mentioned this with the Conan film. Have you guys seen those? They're grotesque. Conan.
Yeah, they are. They're yeah.
The Arnie ones, and what was the one? Red Sonja and stuff. They're actually really
Yeah.
grotesquely kind of rapey, like
I could
man fiction.
never do it. They did the new Red Sonja, and
Mm.
I watched that, and then Brendan was like, "What's this?" Well, my partner was like, "What's this?" And we went back and we watched the original, and he was like, "This is making me really uncomfortable." And I was like,
They're
"Exactly."
really uncomfortable. And there's another one I can't remember that had Jennifer Jason Leigh in it. I want to say it's called Flesh and Bone or
Flesh and Blood.
Flesh and Blood.
Mm.
And it's got Jennifer Jason Leigh, and who's the guy? It's got another famous guy in it.
It's
But it's
very
like
Maybe I'll find it.
it's
Things
a
were
medieval story again that is like
Mm.
got this weird dark tone, which I kind of
Oh,
feel
it's
like
got Rutger in it.
yeah,
Rutger
Rutger
in it,
Hauer,
yeah.
and there's someone else, but
Tom
it's
Burlinson,
Tom
Jack
Burlinson, the
Thompson.
Australian actor who was in The Man from Snowy River, and that he went over there to do that after The Man from Snowy River. Is the weirdest. When you were talking about the dark tone for this, it was an era of those kinds of things. Like, and
But it's
often
interesting because you've got Ladyhawke, then you've got Willow, then you've got The Princess Bride and Dark Crystal, all in the 80s, right?
yeah, you've
And
got heaps.
Parallel to this really dark, very, very intense graphic stuff. because the Conan ones, you're right, Conan, Red Sonja, that stuff is so like it
It
just makes
seems
you feel odd.
it almost feels like fantasy cycles, right?
Yeah.
Because then I remember, when Game of Thrones came out, they were
Yeah,
like,
yes.
"Oh, this is." It
Mm,
was a real resurgence of the like grim and dark, like
Yeah.
and gritty
mm,
fantasy era. And for a while, you couldn't like read a fantasy book without it being like quite like graphic, dark, violent, and often like
Yes.
sexually violent content.
Yeah. They're like leaning into how
And
it
then,
actually was in the Dark Ages, right? Like
and I
pretty
mm.
feel
rough for
like
people.
we've pivoted away from that again. Like it seems to cycle back into like lighter, more adventurous content.
Because we did go back
Thank
in then in
God.
the
Yeah.
2000s as well. Because then we've got like Dragonheart, then you've got things like Starship Troopers, which
Mm.
like they're like a little bit gritty, but they're not overly gritty.
Starship
You can
Troopers is pretty
Pretty gritty.
intense, though.
pretty
They
intense.
about fascism. Like it's pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty intense politically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then in the 2000s, you've got what have you got? Braveheart, you've got Kingdom of Heaven, you've got that kind of like stuff
Bridge
that
to
goes back.
Terabithia.
Yeah, Bridge to
Bridge to Terabithia. Narnia.
I think this is
Narnia.
where it intersects with like the epic,
Yeah.
right? And the historical
Yeah,
epic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which like to bring it back to your quote from earlier, I find it so funny that it's like, no, it's more believable that dragons existed in the medieval period. Because it's like trying to bring this level of like historical epic vibe to the film, and it's like clearly
Yeah.
not historical, it's fantasy. Like
It's like, no,
Then
I
we
want that. I want the vibe of, oh no, what's the Christian Bale one where there's dragons in the future?
Rain of
Oh,
Fire?
yeah,
Rain of Fire. It's like, no, I want
Yeah.
Rain of Fire
Rain of
believability.
Fire, yeah. And then we had that awful Beowulf, which was like what, 2012 or
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, is that was the
And then The
CGI
Rock
one.
did Hercules.
what
The
was it?
one with
Oh,
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really so the last decade has been like back to this like weird,
Hmm.
like awful fantasy. So
Well, I feel
do we
like
think
we're
the next
now.
half of
and
this
stuff like
decade is going to be
stuff
good?
like Clash of the Titans and stuff.
Oh,
which
Jason
are-
and the
yeah.
Argonauts. Do you remember Jason
Which
and
is
the
Jason and the
Argonauts?
mythology, but, like,
Argonauts, the
so
original. Oh my
dark and
God.
gritty, and I don't just mean theme wise. The movies got darker, literally.
Yeah,
I feel
Everyone's
like
Jason and
got
the
how to write their
Argonauts.
films.
That was scary.
yeah.
Those skeletons were scary in Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah.
That claymation kind of like vibe
Yeah.
was actually really
It's
haunting.
because the tone is odd. The tone, like, and often these are quite like some of the really dark, odd ones are kind of indie films. Like they're not coming out of the big studios, and they're just a bit odd and
I also
strange.
feel like there's an element though where it feels like, you get the resurgence of the dark fantasy films after people start thinking of fantasy again as something frivolous and
Yeah.
like silly
Mm.
and not important. And then you have these writers, directors, whoever, like filmmakers making the dark versions to say, no, look how serious actually and prestige this is. Because that was the
Yeah.
vibe when Game of Thrones came out. It was like,
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
prestige fantasy
Yeah,
because,
Mm.
and you can take it seriously because it's so violent.
Like Willow and stuff and Dark Crystal, like it is dark. There are really
It
dark
is.
themes in those movies,
Yeah.
but because you have that whimsicalness and the hopefulness at the end, it wasn't that horrible grittiness of this
Yeah,
is
it's the
what
way they
reality would
balanced
be
it.
like. It's like, no, they're puppets.
Do you know,
Everybody.
I think
Yeah.
partly too is going back, if we're thinking about when Harry said, like Conan, it just gives you a gross feeling, like you feel compromised watching it.
Yes.
And I think there's something about audience, right? Like they can be dark, but they're inclusive of their audience. It's not like, whereas I feel like some of these are very patriarchal male gaze, like, if Conan rapes a woman, you're not supposed to imagine you're the woman, right?
Mm.
Whereas I watch
this
them
is
and I'm
what-
like, oh, I feel just awful watching this. It's awful.
Yeah.
It just
This
feels
is
like it shouldn't be
something
there.
that people say about Game of Thrones. I haven't read the book, so I don't know if people say
The
this
books are
specifically
different.
about the show or
Yeah, it's the
yeah,
show.
like they say, why is there so much of that in there? And then people, again, this whole believability thing in fantasy, people say like it wouldn't be as believable if it wasn't happening because that's more true to real life or something.
The experience in the book
Whereas
is
it's actually
so
not, and it's
different.
really distracting from the actual
Yeah.
story most of the time.
I gave
Yeah.
up on the TV show. We were talking about maybe trying it again, but I gave up on it in the first season because I was just like, oh, this is not like the books. Like, this is
I
just
would maybe watch House of the Dragon, Amy. I wouldn't
Okay.
say it's like perfect, but
better.
I enjoyed that as
Yeah.
opposed to Game of Thrones, where I maybe got to the end of the second season and I went, I can't watch this anymore.
It's just exploitative. It's
think I
like
got about
reveling in
4
the sexual
seasons in.
violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas the books
You can have it
don't
happen
do that.
without showing it in the
There was
way
Yeah,
that it's
yeah,
usually
yeah.
Yes,
shown.
But
yes.
also
The
in the
books,
books,
yeah.
if there is violence and rape, which there is, you are often in the woman's point of view. Like with Sansa, it's
Yes.
very different because there's a kind of experiencing of it as trauma rather than getting off on it happening to her.
Really.
And when they describe larger scenes in the book where they are in some of the what they call the whorehouses and stuff like that, it's less like, I don't know, we're not focusing on it for
That's
30
not
seconds.
really in the books. Like that is
Yeah.
so invented
Yeah.
for the TV show to do the exposition. It's so enraging. It made me
It's
so angry.
literally, because it's
I'm gonna
like
become
they're
livid,
just
Millie.
there.
Livid.
We don't need to see it. You're just there. And so, yeah, I agree with Millie that, like, whilst I
Yeah.
don't think House of the Dragon is a very good show, I think it's a lot better than it's a lot better than Game of Thrones in terms of the exploitative stuff.
I have something I wanted to
Yeah.
raise, which was thinking about Disney, how Disney enters this picture too, because like I was thinking when we think about audience and tone and adulthood and whatever, that you have the animations, but the minute they start doing the live action versions of everything, it's like they're aimed at a slightly different older audience, and that there's a fantasy feel that we get from something like Dragonheart or Willow that they're doing in the live action versions of the Disney movies.
I have not watched any of the live action versions.
They're
of the
surreal
Disney
because they're
movies.
like shot for shot.
They're
Bizarre. Yeah, really bizarre.
no, I just find it. This is going to be such a. I don't know. I don't think this is a hot take. I just think it's disrespectful. I think it's disrespectful to the form of animation
I
to make
agree.
the live action version.
I think it's just nostalgia farming. I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
humor grab.
Yeah, I don't like this implication that it's like, that same thing that in order for it to be quote unquote adult and
Yeah,
thus
yeah.
serious and thus respected, it has to be live action.
But there's something
Because-
about the world creation. I'll feel that you finished and I'll come back. Sorry.
No, I was just saying because in every example of a live action version of an animated product I've seen, it's so much significantly and notably worse than the animation. Like,
Agreed.
yeah, there's so much intentionality
Agreed.
behind every single
Yeah.
shot in an animated movie that you just don't feel that sense of purpose when you
Yeah.
see the live action version.
Also, I've never found the difference between wanting to see something again in a different format, shot for shot.
Except
Like-
I guess
Yeah.
what I was going to say was about IP, was about we're in this age of IP. Instead, so what was refreshing to me about Dragonheart was it was so itself. It was such a weird itself thing, which we don't get that often anymore. Like I feel like, you come back to Lord of the Rings, come back to Game of Thrones, you come back to whatever, like name the IP. And this, you were saying nostalgia farming. And it's just like well, let's make another Willow, let's make another Dark Crystal, let's make another. It's like, can we just make something weird like this film?
To be fair,
Yeah.
the Willow show was really good.
I haven't seen
Like,
it yet.
I'm still so upset that they cancelled it because it was actually really good because it felt like the film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I agree with the
different.
Dark Crystal redo too.
Yeah,
with the
but they
TV show,
felt
I
like
liked
their
that.
films, and that's the
Yeah.
difference is whoever took on the project clearly loved the original
Hmm.
and imbued it with that vibe. Whereas like things like the Disney remakes, it's just like this is a one for one, and it's not even
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
one for one. It's
Yeah.
a bad one for one. But also, like you said, IP. I believe it's the case that it's kind of like with where they keep making, Spider-Man over and over again.
Yeah.
If they make a new film, they retain the copyright. So
Yeah.
it could have just been that, the time Beauty and the Beast time was coming up, so they were
Yeah,
like, quick,
maybe.
we better make a movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
when you do get something weird and original, it's not with this big budget, which I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
is the
yeah.
difference. Like they're
Yeah.
much smaller independent films rather than like a huge blockbuster that clearly has a lot of money behind it.
Yeah, so it was
The
really
last-
refreshing because you never knew where this was going, this film. I had no idea. Like, there were some things you'd know, like David Thewlis' dick, he's not going to end up well. Like, you know
No.
that. But you're like, I don't know where this is taking some weird turns.
I genuinely thought him when I watched this movie like as a kid, I was like, this is the most evil character to ever exist. I was like, man, I hate this guy so much. He's so evil. And then I remember when he was announced as playing Remus Lupin, I was like, I am devastated because I was like, how is anyone going to get past the fact that he's this evil guy in
That's
Dragonheart?
right.
And I think
he
I was
played the villain
overestimating.
in Dinotopia.
Yeah, I think I
too.
was overestimating how much people associate him with this film.
Oh my God, the
What do you mean
nostalgia
you
of
don't know
this
him only from Dragonheart? What do you mean?
the fact that you guys just keep unlocking like nostalgic memories in my mind based on every sentence is like, it's making me really happy.
It is now a good time to say that I've watched none of these films, not a single one mentioned.
We will just add them
What?
to the
You
ever
watched
Get
this
busy.
time.
I'm
lot of
sitting
them
here
are
silently
older.
like, yes, that film. I haven't seen a single one.
Oh, some of them you'd love. Some of them
Yeah.
you would love. And
Yeah.
some of them
Sure, I
you'd be
would.
like, oh, that's a nostalgia for something that's long past.
We should actually, we talked about this when we watched the film, and I kind of want to make sure we bring it up before we like finish up the episode about the parallels with like dark romance.
Yeah.
Because when we were watching the film, I found this very interesting, having
That's right. Yeah.
people expecting David Thewlis as the evil prince to be
Yeah.
a love interest.
Yeah, yeah.
And it had never occurred to me at any point that I watched this movie that would be an interpretation. But it makes sense because we're in that cultural, like,
Yeah.
that's the cultural references we have for these types of characters now.
Yeah, I think if you were to give it to script doctors now, that's totally what would happen. He'd have some redemption story that she would be involved in. However,
Heart
I
would redeem
think
him.
they should ship Draco and Dennis Quaid instead. That would be the
But
best.
that's what the
That
fan
makes
fiction
the
would be
watch
about.
experience so
Yeah.
much more fun.
Yes, they go for a
I-
shifter.
And we
Right,
could do a
right.
1,000,000-word fan fiction that would then get picked up for lots of money, and we'd be happy.
They
Yes.
exist
Right.
right at the beginning of this episode. I looked it up and I found fan fiction and I have it up on my browser
Oh,
right now.
come on,
my
Peyton.
gosh.
Bring it on.
I was going to say that the original script writer should write fan fiction of the movie, and then that can get published,
Yeah.
which is a reference to something happening culturally now. But it sounds like he did in writing the Dragonheart.
I want to go read that
Yeah,
now. I
I
want to
don't
go
know.
Yeah,
try
so do
that.
I.
Sometimes like
That's good.
script writers will do that to own the IP of the story, because a script, the who owns the script is a bit more complicated than
Yeah.
as like a novel where there's one writer.
So what's some of this fanfic?
I mean, I
We
personally am
can't do
opposed
that.
to
We can't
reading
put
out
anybody on
fanfic.
blast.
No, just we don't need to read it out, but tell me what's happening in this fanfiction. Is there
Hair
dragon
pulling,
shipping?
anal
Pulling.
sex,
How
flaming
about a plot
bites.
summary, Peyton?
Yeah, you just immediately went to the tags.
Tags is good.
Well, you said not to read it, so I thought I would just read the
Don't
tags.
read somebody's,
What's that?
like, don't put the person on blast.
What's the
Oh
ship?
no, well, I mean, they also wrote the summary. Am I allowed to read the summary? No,
Surely.
it's Bowen and Draco.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was
Good.
looking up Bowen and Draco. There are
Excellent.
20 of them on
It's just what
AI.
Amy wants.
That's not
Yeah.
too bad,
All right, I'm
honestly.
gonna go and
Who's
read
doing
all
the hair
20.
anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's all
yeah,
add at least one story to that.
he would
Yes.
need
Each.
very fine motor skills in those claws, this guy.
Are there any about Bowen being in his mouth? Because I feel like
Surely.
that
Oh,
needs to happen.
Guaranteed.
That's gonna be a thing. Yeah. Did I say
Totally.
spit as lube? 'Cause that's
No.
fair. I don't know why that has to be a tag. I
Peyton.
feel like that's a pretty regularly
Well,
occurring thing
it's
in a
canonical that the
rom-com,
dragons
but-
in Dragonheart can spit ice.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Frigid
Oh.
dragon.
Snort ice, I guess.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe they
just
snort
remember.
it. No, I think he spits it. Not in this movie. In the sequel,
Yeah.
there's a dragon that spits ice.
Yeah, I was
There's
gonna,
more
I
on
was
the
we
gonna
need to
ask
talk about the
sequels. How many sequels were there? Just one or two?
One
One.
sequel that I recognize. I can't remember if there's a third one. There might be.
Oh, I just
Actually, I think
remember
there's no, there is, because there's a series of films, like they were making them up to as recently as I think like maybe 2015-ish.
I feel like
those
this has
sorts of
got to be
times.
ripe
No.
for
Yeah,
IP
so there's a lot, and
reinvention.
obviously the sequels sort of get further and further away from the original
Yeah.
vibe. But yes, the sequel is still very similar vibes.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, it kind of gets a bit like, what are we doing?
There
Yeah.
are 5. The most recent one was 2020.
Wow, what's it called?
Yeah,
Dragon
no,
Heart
it was really recent.
Dragonheart Vengeance.
Ah,
Oh my
that
God.
sounds
I just
dark.
remember Millie, do you remember the game? Millie, Justina, do you remember the PC game? It
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
yes. I grew up on that when I was like a young kid. It was the
Yeah.
most basic, like we're talking like
So
standard
basic.
2D shit. but
Very
I
missed, like click
loved
and
it.
just
Literally,
click and move.
miss,
Yeah.
jump, dump, like like here comes the dragon, and it was amazing. Like it was such like a nostalgic memory where I would sit there on that old like Windows 95 computer,
Old
mind you,
desktop
this
PC.
yeah, which was like, we didn't have it all then, so we were like we had the old style of stuff. But I loved it. It was amazing too. It was such a good game.
So I think what we have been circling around with YA month, and which we'll probably revisit in Dragon Month, is the role of nostalgia in a lot of these stories, right? Like fantasy stories seem to tap into that longing for nostalgia, and then YA, particularly the books that stay with you. I heard on in the New Yorker, I think it is. I think it might be the New York Times Daily podcast. They were interviewing Judy Blume's biographer, and I listened. I learned all these things about Judy Blume I didn't know, including she sold 90 million copies, but she's really not popular anymore. Like kids don't read her anymore because it was so of its time. And I was thinking about how there are generations who are so nostalgic for like Judy Blume, but it's like pre-tech, right? Like it's just not relevant to kids anymore. And yeah, and what you long for. Like, so when you think about Dragonheart or those films you watched over and over, what is the feeling that goes with the nostalgia? What is it about it that gives you that feeling?
The whimsy for me. It's the magic, the whimsy, the escapism, I think.
I think for me, it's the sense of adventure. Like, I feel like the adventure film had a huge peak in the 90s and 2000s and then sort of fell off a little. Like, people seemed more interested in like a drama than an adventure. Yeah.
I think about the time that I was watching and enjoying this stuff, and I just think it was super safe. Like I didn't have to worry about any of just the definition of nostalgia. Like back when things were a lot easier. And you're like, that was nice. You would just curl up on the couch and watch Dragonheart, then you'd watch Ladyhawke, then you'd watch Willow.
Yep.
What a great
you know
night.
what?
Yeah, I
and
mean,
you didn't
still a
have to
great
do
night.
anything. Like
I still watch Lord of the Rings when I'm sick.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I love watching Lord of the Rings when I'm
Lord of the
feeling
Rings
Yeah.
and Slipper in the Rose, weirdly. But
I
that's just
love
'cause,
that
like,
you
it's
know
something
what that is. Do you know
My
how
mum loved
few
it.
people know what Slipper and the Rose is? I was
Oh,
obsessed. I've
we
watched that so many
love
times.
that film in this house,
Oh
in my
my
mum's house.
God.
that is
Oh, we could sing the songs right now, but let's not.
I've
It's for
only
Abby's
met
sake.
one other person
It's a
who really
musical?
knew what it was. It
Amy,
was
I keep telling
Yeah.
you,
Can we
you
watch this with
are-
Abby, please?
You're like my mother to the left, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you guys are the same person.
This
Isn't
film
that
is
like that
the
was the
best.
60s though, wasn't it?
No, it was
Slipper and the
that.
Rose-
It's like 1980.
Yeah, no, it's the 80s.
No, it was not the
1980.
80s. No, somebody search that up.
It was originally
No.
released in 1976.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Harry's like,
Oh.
Harry's like,
I
that was
was
a
like-
But
silent
it was
film.
like
No.
one of the videos that were out in the very first video stores that you could rent, and
like
it was
the war had just
classic.
finished.
it was so seriously done, and it just bombed. It's the biggest bomb of a film. I loved it. I could sing all the songs
Love
too.
it.
Did you
Is that
actually?
before
I
Technicolor?
know. Papa used to
We'll watch
love
it, Amy.
Slipper in the
We'll
Rose.
have a watch party.
Shocking
We
film.
will.
Oh my god.
God.
Oh, right. On that note, well, that was quite an original kind of retelling of Cinderella. All right. Now that we've gotten over our nostalgia, we've run out of time.
Never.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a really fun YA month. Like I've really enjoyed that month.
Yeah, going back and just thinking about the books I read as a little person was
Yeah.
really nice.
And
Let's do it. Let's just quit our jobs and let's just go back to living a real simple,
Yeah,
nice,
we'll just
easy
watch
life. Where we
Willow.
don't have to worry about
Amazing.
money.
Sure.
let's
I
do
feel
it.
like we'll be returning not just to YA, like those YA nostalgia feelings in Dragon Month, but also actually in Vampire Month.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And in just as a head spoiler, guys, we've got an After Dark in that month because it's October.
Oh,
And these guys,
good.
everyone's
it's like
gonna
we
die.
planned it.
Yeah, everyone is going to make me watch Twilight, which I've never seen. I've seen
I
the
I
first
can't
one.
wait.
I can't,
gonna be
I can't
amazing.
speak, but
So
I can't believe
excited.
you haven't seen Twilight.
I've seen the
I-
first 15 minutes.
I
Well, and now you watch the rest.
Oh,
I need to
that's
see
not
the
even the
nose
best
replay
15 minutes.
and watch Amy's reaction.
I feel like we need to like
Record the
film
actual
it.
reaction.
Gotta at least set up mics. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We'll have a couple of little
can't
roads,
wait.
maybe.
Yeah.
We should record like a DVD commentary.
Yeah, oh, let's do it.
It's gonna be so funny. Amy's gonna be like, this is shit. Like, no.
Sure, Amy's gonna love it.
She's gonna say this is a
come
work
on.
of genius, and I can't believe I haven't seen it.
Yeah. That was just again. I think I had babies when that came out.
Yeah.
Alrighty-o. Well, on that note, we will see you guys next week when
Yeah.
we're kicking off Dragon Month. Let's see if I can get it in shot. And don't forget to go grab your copy of Monocle Black Goose's To Shape of Dragon's Breath. This is one of Abby's recs, so we're super excited to dive in. It's I'm not very far yet. I'm only this far, but it's really grabbed me so far. It's the most original thing I've read in a long time, I have to say. I had
Very
not read
original.
anything like it.
I'm listening to the audiobook right now because I've read the book but want to and I don't have the time to reread it.
It's a big book.
But the audiobook is also really good.
I'm excited.
Cool.
Me
Alright.
too.
Well, thanks for joining me, guys. That was fun. We will see everyone next week. Until then, happy reading, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.